Hey folks, today I'm looking at LetonPower's Submariner Series. There's the 14S, the 16, and the 26S. Let's see what they can do. Welcome to another Water Trek 360. I apologize for my laryngitis, but let's get through this. Today we're going to look at 3 underwater spotlights from LetonPower in their Submariner Series. The 14S, the 16, and the 26S. Do check out my previous videos on other underwater spotlights. I will provide links for them in the description. While I do have a Water Trek 360 discount link for you in the description where you can save money at the official LetonPower website, LetonPower did not provide me with these lights. I purchased them myself, and these opinions are my own. Leton had no input into this review. I do this so you can make an informed choice before you buy. If you find these reviews useful, please click subscribe, click like. So let's now compare the capabilities of these budget spotlights. They're all made out of high-grade aluminum alloy. They have a water rating of IPX8, depth rated to 100 meters, and drop tested to at least 1 meter. The first thing you notice is the size. The 14S and 16 are compacts at 6 1/2 and 7 1/8 inches long and 1 3/4 inches wide at the light, whereas the 26S is 9 3/4 inches high and 2 inches at the light. With batteries, the 14S and 16 weigh in at 6.7 and 8.9 ounces respectively, and the 26S at slightly over 1 pound. They all have double O-ring protection for the body cavity with access threads at the tail end of the light. The 14S also has a Type-C access point opposite the button switch, and the 16 an optional thread to access a Type-C right behind the light head. Make sure you remove the little insulation plate before first use. 14S comes with one 18650 battery with 3100 mAh, the 16 one 2700 battery with 5000 mAh, and the 26S has two 26650 5000 mAh batteries in an enclosed casing. The 26S batteries are not replaceable, and you need to contact LetonPower for a replacement battery if damaged. They all have unprotected batteries to my knowledge. The 14S and the 26S have the same button switch function. The 14S has 6 modes scrolling through super, high, medium, and low with corresponding lumen of 2000, 1500, 1000, and 500, then a rapid strobe, and finally an SOS. The 26S has 5 modes scrolling through high, medium, low, with corresponding lumen of 5,000, 3,000, and 1,500, then the rapid strobe and SOS. The 16 is a lockable slider, starting at a low of roughly 500 lumen, scrolling up to 2,000. It does not have a flashing strobe or SOS. They all have a neutral Kelvin of roughly 5,500. Only the 26S lists a CRI at 90. These are not video lights. They can be used on land. The 14S and 16 do not list any battery protections. The 26S has a heat dissipation feature. They all have a tight 8-degree beam angle with an overall spread of around 60 degrees, except the 14S, which has an overall spread of 72 degrees. The 14S and the 26S have battery power indicator on the button. The 14S shows green over 40%, red 40 to 10%, flashing red under 10%. The 26S simply shows blue when good and red when diminished. The 16 has an indicator left of the slider. This shows green over 60%, yellow 60 to 20, and red when under 20%. As for accessories, the 14S and 16 came in a carry case. The 14S also added this small tool for the Type-C opening and a wrist strap. The 26S came in a box. They all came with a lanyard, Type-C cable, spare O-rings, O-ring grease, and a quasi-manual. Control tests. Charging time. With fully depleted batteries using the Type-C cable, the 16 averaged 2 hours and 8 minutes, the 14S 3 hours and 7 minutes. Surprisingly, the 26S also averaged between 5 and 6.5 hours. All show red while charging green or blue when fully charged. On my quick charger, the 16 averaged 2 hours and 15 minutes and the 14S 3 hours and 48 minutes. Sync tests. Literature claims the 14S can last 1 hour and a half on super, 3 hours on high, 4.5 and 6 hours on the next two settings. The 16 shows 3 hours on high and up to 72 hours on the dimmest setting. The 26S claims 6 hours on high and up to 24 hours on low. On super, the 14S stayed green for 25 minutes, shutting off at an average of 1 hour and 25 minutes. On high, the 16 lasted an hour and 25 minutes as green, started to dim around an hour and 40 minutes, but stayed on for 6.5 hours. The 26S on high stayed blue for just over 3 hours, but stayed on from a low of anywhere of 4 hours and 10 minutes to a high of almost 5 hours. Topside, they worked as anticipated, tight, well-defined beams. They got a little warm on highs, so monitor that. In the pool, again, the spot beams were all well-defined. The 16 was slightly cleaner than the 14S, and the 26S had the sharpest and tightest beam of all, and obviously the most punch due to the lumen difference. They were all a cool white. In my open water tests, results were consistent. I tested on 3 separate days, each with varying conditions. The tight 8-degree beams are perfect for up here in New England. The 14S and 26S did well at each of the lumen settings. However, the 16 with the slider, I generally kept at high, since at the lower settings it was pretty much ineffective. They all did pretty well penetrating into holes and crevices. The 26S with the 5000 lumen fared much better. As I've mentioned in previous videos, Long Island Sound is a tough place for lights due to the low vis, which is why I prefer a narrow beam, under 10 degrees if possible. That said, even with all the backscatter and silt, these guys did pretty well. So what didn't I like? Now remember, these are my personal preferences. You may have a different opinion than me. Since I normally wear mine on a helmet, the 16 slider switch is less preferable for me, and there is no strobe. Additionally, the power light indicator here is a little dimmer than the other two and harder to see. Charging time to runtime ratios for the 14S compared to the other two was clearly not as good. With a top runtime of under an hour and a half on super and recharge times of over 3 hours, it means the super setting for me is impractical. I also don't like the dual openings like for this C port. It's simply just another point of failure, another O-ring you can lose. Make sure you tighten both threads before you use it. So what did I like? The 16 and 14S, even though they're compact, have a very nice solid feel. They have tight beams and a decent punch. I like the extra battery protections on the 26S. Although the 26S is on the max edge of what I use on my helmet, the long run time, high lumen, and super tight beam mitigate that. They're all good lights, well suited for this tough, poor dive conditions here in the Northeast. They're all pretty cheap. I paid $36 for the 14S, $50 for the 16, and $79 for the 26S. It's a consideration if you're on a tight budget. So, bottom line, while your needs and body style preferences may be different than mine, for the price, they all get a thumbs up. The 26S, as I mentioned, with the extra lumen, long run time, on-high, battery protections, is my preferred choice. At these prices, check them out. Use the link and discount code I provided in the description to save yourself some money on any Leton product. Well, let me know what you think. As always, I am happy to hear feedback. Anyway, my friends, as always, stay safe in your dive adventures. And remember, go explore, get wet,